What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday night. My name's Tanner Dawson of the Whiskey Sports Podcast, and joining with me is Nick Bodkins of the Bodkins Show. Nick, what's up, dude?
What's up?
Oh.
Missed you last week, my guy.
Hey, it was a good show last week. You had plenty of support there with Mr. Johnny Cruz and Scott on as well to help kind of guide through the show there.
We did have plenty of buffoons to fill in your space. I will say that.
Hey, it worked out, man. It looked good. It was a great show. Just some shorts while I was eating around the apartment, so got to view a little bit of it. So that's always nice to have. Nick, man. By the way, you had a pretty good guest last night, if I don't recall.
I did. I don't know if you caught it, but it was one of my favorite interviews I've done. Legendary head coach, Missouri Basketball Hall of Famer, over 500 career wins, Coach Steve Schofield. Not only did I have the privilege of interviewing him last night, I had the privilege of playing for him as a young, spry nice. Nick Bodkins. So we shared a lot of stories, talked a lot. It's probably one of my favorite interviews I've ever done. Just, when you know somebody for 20 years, you don't really know them either, though, at the same time, especially when they're, old enough to be your dad and those things. So it was, I really enjoyed that interview. He gave some great insight, gave some great quotes. So please check that one out. It was a lot of fun.
I didn't get a chance catch all of it, but I caught some of the beginning. So I'll have to swing back around on it. And then there's Scott in the chat, guys. There's that damn stripping music again. Every Monday, baby. Every Monday. Get warmed up. And then he also says, hey, watch who you're calling buffoons. Hey, shoe fits, man. Shoe fits, right? So, all right, let's bring him in. Our Monday nightly guest, Mr. Jim Biringer. What's up, Jim?
What is going on, guys? How you doing?
We are in the middle of excitement, dude. We just got done with WrestleMania. We got the NBA play-in starting, and we have the NHL playoffs a little less than a week away, if I'm correct. So,
I've waited all day to ask you this question. The Bruins got the 63rd win. Is it David? I don't even know how the hell to say his last name. Pastrnak? Is he going to be the MVP? Pastrnak, thank you. Hey, I knew you would get it. Is he the MVP because he's the best player on the best team, or who's going to be MVP here in the NHL world?
Well, first of all, David Pasternak's having a great season. So is Boston Bruins. As you said, 63 wins, the most now in NHL history in the regular season, passing the 18-19 Lightning, 95-96 Red Wings. David Pasternak's the second player in Bruins history to score 60 goals in a season behind Phil Esposito. But unfortunately, David Pastrnak is not going to be the Hart Trophy winner this year. It will be 97 in Edmonton. Connor McDavid, 150 points, 60-some-odd goals. Actually, he's up to 64 goals now. He's your MVP this year.
Impressive on that front.
Why not Posy or Pansy or whatever the hell his name is?
Just call him Pasta. Just call him Pasta.
Right here. Call him Pasta.
Call him Pasta. Just call him Pasta.
Why the hell not Pasta? Why not? This is why I don't get into hockey, Jim. I can't pronounce the damn names.
Because here's the issue. McDavid's been the best player all year. He's putting up ridiculous stats. He's he's got a lot of game winners too. But the thing is what he is and who he is. It's Connor McDavid's world, and everybody else is living in it. And any other year, David Pasternak's probably winning the Rocket and probably winning the Hart Trophy. But Connor McDavid's just on a different level this year than anybody else. And the fact that McDavid scored 60, Pasternak's got 60. I mean, the race for the Rocket's still on. But Connor McDavid and what he's doing this year, he should be the unanimous MVP. And if he isn't, there's a problem. And as I said to you the other time here, whoever doesn't vote for him, we put your ballot on Twitter and we shamelessly throw comments at you because you don't know what you're talking about.
So Pasta's the best player on the best team, and he's not going to get one single vote?
He'll probably get a couple votes, but I'm telling you right now, McDavid's the runaway winner of the Hart Trophy.
Where are the Oilers at then? Right? You said the Oilers, he plays for the Oilers.
Yeah, so the Edmonton Oilers are battling the Vegas Golden Knights in the Pacific. They're a couple points behind Vegas now for top spot in the Pacific.
Okay, so at least they're in the running, right? Like they're a team that can make a run to the...
They've won 7 in a row now, and they're sitting right there in the Pacific. They're only 2 points behind Vegas. They hold the tiebreakers over both teams. So if they finish the same points with LA and Vegas, they'll own the tiebreakers and get first. But the way McDavid's talking this year, he wants to win a Stanley Cup. He doesn't care about the numbers. He doesn't care about his goals. He doesn't care about his 150 points. It doesn't matter. He wants to win a Stanley Cup, and he knows this is the team that can do it this year. The way Leon Draisaitl's playing, the way Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is playing, the way Kane's playing. By the way, the Edmonton Oilers have 300-point players on their team. It's the first time since the 1995-96 Pittsburgh Penguins that had Mario, Ron Francis, and Jaromir Jagr all go over the century mark.
Are we headed to Bruins Oilers Stanley Cup then?
I mean, it would be cool to see a rematch from 1990 Stanley Cup final, but the Oilers got a tough test in the West. I mean, Colorado's coming on. I mean, it's gonna be a tough first round matchup, even second round for them. They have the ability to go far, but again, it's going to come down to their goaltending, McDavid and Draisaitl. But they're just not a two-player team anymore. They have RNH. They got Yamamoto. They've got Evander Kane. Their defense is better with Matthias Ekholm. So the Oilers have a chance. We could see it. It's a potential. I think the Bruins will hold up their end of the bargain. I think they're that good. And if they don't get there and they don't win, it's really a disappointment considering what they've done this year. So I could see it happening. I'm not going to say no, but I think the things have to work out to everybody's favor.
I like that. And by the way, so since I've looked at the standings last, I had a whole 2 weeks now. Minnesota was first last time I spoke to you, Jim, or they were first. Now they've dropped down to fifth in the seedings. Edmonton's threatening the one in the West right now with Vegas as well. Like, is Minnesota? I got a lot of Minnesota friends. They're going to know, are they in trouble of getting their playoff win this year that they're really trying to get this year?
I mean, look, Colorado come back from the dead. They've come off the mat. There was some shaky ground with the injuries. They weren't sure they were going to make it. Maybe it'll be a wild card team. They're kind of flying under the radar until now. They're back in first place. They have a nice lead on first. Dallas is right there. Minnesota will be in the playoffs. They've clinched the playoff spot. Home ice is, we'll see when April 17th rolls around. Do they have the 1 seed in Central? I don't think so. Do they have home ice? I can see it. I would really like to see Dallas, Minnesota. That's kind of where we go
right now.
Yeah, I think Colorado's just too strong. And by the way, Colorado is going to get Gabriel Landeskog back for the playoffs. By the way, not only did you hear it here, Full Press Hockey, also I kind of said it. Now the insiders are jumping on it that I told you Landeskog wasn't going to be playing the rest of the regular season. So, I just want to let you guys know that I was right on that. And I just want to just take
another Biringer bomb, baby.
I just wanted to let you guys know that. But look, Colorado is going to be a dangerous team. Minnesota, their goaltending is so good with Gustafsson and Fleury, and Kirill's coming back, Kaprizov. So once he gets back in the lineup, they're going to be a better team. Dallas, Minnesota is going to be a good first round matchup if they meet. Even if they play Colorado, it'll be a good first round matchup. But I think Colorado finds a way to get the top spot in the Central.
Jim, that was kind of my next question. Is there a first round matchup in these playoffs that we could see either that a most intriguing matchup, like you would say is must see TV, and are we going to see any sort of upsets here in this first round?
So, I mean, look, I think for me, I would like the Oilers to get top seed in the Pacific. That way, Johnathan Quick, who's on Vegas right now, plays his former club in the first round of the playoffs. But that's still not a given because the Kings have been on a little bit of a losing streak and Seattle's been on a winning streak. So Seattle could technically still get the third seed in the Pacific. But LA's got Vancouver, I believe, here on a Monday, and Seattle's got Arizona. So both teams should pick up victories, but nothing is guaranteed here. So that would be an intriguing first round matchup. I'd like, if Dallas plays, any of those three central teams, any of those matchups would be really good. Obviously, Tampa, Toronto, all eyes are going to be on that, especially north of the border, because Toronto hasn't won a playoff series since 2004, a first round playoff series since 2004. So it's going to be interesting to see if they get out of the first round. Whoever Boston plays could be fascinating. Carolina's kind of hit their kind of skids right now. The first place in the Metro is still kind of up in the air. Devils, Rangers, where I live is always a great, must watch because the Rangers do well nationally. So it's the playoffs. So that would be a good series, but you never know. Again, Carolina's got to hold on, and New Jersey still has a chance.
Who gets the final spot in the West? Winnipeg or Calgary? Or nobody, because you got right now. So Calgary has Nashville tonight, and they play.
That's a de facto elimination game. Yeah. Whoever loses tonight's gone. Okay. Like it's a de facto elimination game. If Calgary loses, they're done. Yeah, if Calgary wants any chance of doing anything, they need to beat Nashville tonight. If Nashville wins, they're still alive and the Flames are gone.
Gotcha.
You had Winnipeg did their job against San Jose tonight. They beat them up 6-2. Congrats, by the way, to Erik Karlsson, 100 points this season for defenseman, first since Brian Leetch, 1991-92, to hit 100 points. A lot of guys hitting 100-point mark. I believe there's 15, 16 guys over 100 points this season. So that's a lot. 14 seconds left. Nope. That makes Ottawa's taking the game from Carolina in regulation. So Carolina, no points. New Jersey still has an outside shot to win the division. So we'll see there. But, it comes down to me. Look, I think Winnipeg finds a way. They have two tough games, Colorado, Minnesota. Yep. But I think they're going to find a way to do it. I think they'll figure out a way to get at least 2 points out of that and pretty much seal the deal.
And they're both away games, too. They're at Minnesota and
at Colorado. Yeah, so I think they'll figure out a way to get in. I just don't see them not getting in. When the Jets play like they do, when everything's clicking, they're a tough team to beat.
Good deal. Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see what all the matchups come into play. After Thursday's last games?
Technically Friday is the last day because Buffalo has two sets of back-to-backs this week. They're playing the Rangers on Monday, and then they play New Jersey on Tuesday. But because of the snowstorm, they have two more games to close everything out on Friday. And I think there's a makeup somewhere too. I think Colorado plays Nashville on Friday too. So there's only 2 games on Friday night. So.
What a time to have a back-to-back.
Yeah, I know.
How tired are they going to be going into the playoffs?
I mean, think about it. If Buffalo really had a chance at the playoffs,
that'd be
they would be. That's a tough road to go through.
Yeah,
man. All right. Any other predictions or anything what you determine the top 3 seeds in each? Are we pretty much set outside of Carolina and New Jersey?
Outside of the Atlantic, nothing's really settled. I mean, I think Oilers find a way to get the top spot in the Pacific. I think Colorado in, Central. And I think it's 50-50 on New Jersey, Carolina, because Carolina, they lost their game in hand. So, I mean, it's going to come down, to the schedule. New Jersey's got a tough game against so the Carolina Hurricanes when they play Florida. The New Jersey has to go to Washington, not an easy place to play. You have Buffalo tomorrow. They could probably be there for, a day. We'll see what happens. So a lot of still things to be determined in the East. So Florida, the Panthers picked up a point in an overtime loss to Toronto here on Monday. But the Islanders lost in Washington, a house of horrors for them. So Pittsburgh Penguins are still alive. But the Panthers picked up a point, so they're inching closer to the playoff berth. If they had won, the Panthers had won in overtime, they would have clinched the playoff spot because of the Islanders' loss. But because they lost, they only picked up a point. So I think one more point in their next game they're in, and they'll seal the deal. And now Pittsburgh is still alive for the final playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. So no status quo like we saw over the weekend.
Gotcha. Scott has a question out here. I don't think Nick asked this one yet, but toughest matchup in round 2 for the Bruins, the Leafs or the Lightning?
Both teams pretty tough, but I think I'm going to give the edge to the Lightning just because what the Lightning have done to them in the playoffs recently. I have not seen Toronto be in the second round. I saw what Boston has done to Toronto in the first round, and they've beaten the Maple Leafs. And the games are always close. I mean, they just had a close game the other night that went to overtime. Toronto can give them a run. Look, if Toronto can get by Tampa, then Toronto has momentum. Toronto has confidence. Toronto has belief now that they can beat anybody. But the way the Bruins have run in the Lightning so many times in the second round that that's always a tough game. And I've seen when the Lightning get rolling, if Vasilevsky plays at his best, this team is so difficult to beat. So difficult. But this is the year that there's a good chance Toronto can catch them this year in the first round. But if they don't, look out for the Lightning again.
I was gonna say it's got to be the Lightning, right? Like they've been to like 4 straight Stanley Cup finals. Like they're a team that's been there and done that. Like to me, if I'm Boston, that's probably the last team I want to play.
Yeah, it's a team I don't want to play. But if you're gonna get to the Stanley Cup final, you're gonna get to the Eastern Conference final. You're gonna have to knock off the 3-time defending Eastern Conference champs to do it. And what better way to do it?
So what I hear you say, Jim, is to be the man, you got to beat the man.
Absolutely.
Right here. I know all about it, man. Right here. Champions.
You gotta do it. That's what you gotta do.
Awesome. Guys, keep your if you want to go ahead and any comments, any questions you got for Jim regarding hockey or WWE or wrestling or whatever it is, put in the comments here. He'll be with us for just a little longer here. So let's turn the events here. We got some wrestling questions for you, Jim. Yeah, I know. Watch out. Scott has some stuff for you.
Here we go.
He wants to know, what do you think of the Lesnar heel turn?
We called it, Jim. We called it.
We were talking about it last week. Scott even brought it up.
Yeah, I think we called it. We called it live on air last Monday. I said Lesnar we all kind of agreed Lesnar's going to turn on Cody. And what do you know, as if I've been watching wrestling and I've been sitting backstage my whole life, called that one from a mile away.
Was he ever a babyface, though? I never recalled.
This last run, he's been 1,001% babyface.
It's Brock, baby. Cowboy Brock. Yeah, Cowboy Brock, big-time babyface. Over. So, I mean.
Even last week after beating up Cody, I think if he came back out wearing the cowboy hat, people would still cheer. So
yeah, exactly.
He's been a face since he got rid of Heyman. Really, it's been babyface Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, exactly. It has been.
See,
yes.
I always pictured him as just a full-time heel. Like that's all he ever did, and that's when I followed it very closely as well. That's all it ever was, And it was
the last year or so, because Roman's been the heel, and when they paired him up with Roman, he's been more of the babyface-esque. I mean, he still does the same shit, but it's just
I just don't feel like I don't know how that works. I don't get that.
Yeah,
I guess I have to go back and watch to get the full experience of it because I just I just can't put it in a situation.
It really wasn't like it's not like a face turn or a heel he never had like a face turn, right? He came out in cowboy shit and dropped the and people just went ballistic. That he showed a little bit more of his personality. I mean, he was still F5ing people and taking people to Suplex City, but because he was showing his personality a little bit more, people loved it. I mean, this cowboy hat and him coming out in fucking blue jeans and just being this ass kicker. I think Pat McAfee, I think the way he celebrates Brock is insane too. So I think that has a lot to do with it.
You ever see him on Pat's show though when he was out there?
Yeah.
Breaking stuff a couple times, but it was a blast. He was really fun to watch.
But that's personality that he was showing on TV.
Yeah,
too.
I think he had a baby face run like back when he was like challenging Angle for the title. It kind of didn't really work.
Yeah,
he's a better heel anyway.
Yeah,
like most guys are.
To be a baby face, he really is. Alan, appreciate you. He says it's like the John Cena Rock story all over again, but better. So, SummerSlam or next year's Mania.
I think Cody. I mean, they've kind of said is Cody's going to have to go through his own hard times. And he's going to have to get through.
I mean, I was watching the Dusty thing on A&E the other night, and I was like, the first thing that came into my head was what Cody's going through right now, how Dusty had to go through everything to win the title, and I'm like, we couldn't come up with. Look, you and I both said it. Like I've said it with a lot of people. I was always programmed that WrestleMania was the be-all, end-all, culmination of the storyline. The way Cody came back, it was great. I understand what they're doing. I think probably this was the plan. If Cody didn't get hurt, he would challenge Roman at SummerSlam, lose, and then go through everything through Mania. I mean, it's different with Undertaker and Orton, like when they had their match at Mania and then they go on and had that great, set of matches that ended in Hell in a Cell. I just feel like there was a missed opportunity with Cody there, and now he's going to run through all these top guys, and it's just like, it's like you brought this guy in as a superstar, just give him the damn title already, and it just let's be done with it, because it just, I don't know, to me, you culminate everything at Mania and then you go from there. And I think, yeah, Heyman likes to talk about, it's the better stories, bigger. God, there's still stories to be told if he was the champion. There's other sides to this, but they want to tell the road side of it. And I will disagree with one thing that I saw in the documentary last night. I wished, and Vince to this day has always done this. If you never worked for him or you missed an opportunity come, he will punish you.
Yeah.
It happened to Dusty. Dusty should have been on the same level as Hogan, should have been a world champion in WWF, but was made to be this
a laughing stock. Yeah.
Right. He wasn't the American dream. Like all his work in NWA, all that stuff, he wasn't that guy. Cody did it his way, became his star, and he's kind of get slapped in the face after he came back at Mania the year before and propelled into the main event. Outside of Styles and a couple other guys, that's why Sting didn't want to come. Like that's why a lot of guys don't want to come here, because they lose who they are. And I think, I just think again the missed opportunity with Cody.
So before I get to Scott's other question here, and Alan just put in here too that Cody just challenged Lesnar.
Yeah, they're going to have the match at Backlash. It's kind of why they set that up.
It's like that's what it reminded me of. It reminded me when Cena lost to The Rock, and then he had to face Lesnar. It's like why?
Similar situation.
Why are we running back the same stuff over again?
So
that's Vince. That's Vince for you.
Right.
Yeah,
so there's
exactly.
An interesting tweet I saw today that was talking about the merger and everything like that, and Vince being back into an exec level, essentially. Do you think, I don't know, do you think like this is aimed for to be a disaster, and like these entertainers should take a stand saying, hey, we don't want him. We want, Triple H back. We want somebody else to do this thing.
I think that's what happened last week, to be honest, after Raw. I think because of all the late changes and the rewrites and a lot of morale was down. A lot of people were happy over the last 9 months. No Vince around. Just better atmosphere, better run show, better feel. That's why I wasn't at SmackDown. He did call in some changes, but I think, the wrestlers know they'd rather have Triple H. Mm-hmm. And the way he does things, and things go better. And look, Vince wanted to get out after the sale, but the guy who runs Endeavor, Ari Emanuel, wanted him to stick around. Again, he's the second highest executive in the company. Yeah. And he should just take his money and go home, because he's out of touch with the business right now. And he needs to realize that Triple H knows what he's doing. Because if he stayed around, if Vince stayed around, it would have been a lot of bad. A lot of people would have a lot of complaints.
So do we see a bulk of demanded releases possibly coming here in the next few months if things don't work out the way they all want?
They're already in. If you read a lot of things, they're already in danger losing Drew McIntyre. And Drew's probably one of the top 5.
Isn't he like riddled with injuries and? illnesses.
He's undisclosed injury right now. Drew McIntyre is, but he hasn't been seen since Mania. But it's been reported that he's turned down their offer money wise because he's frustrated with creative as well. And he's a guy that's one of their top stars. I mean, they put the strap on him during the whole pandemic, and to me, deserves another chance with the title in front of crowds.
Well, and I think a lot of people expected him to go over Bobby Lashley at Mania last year, the year before. 2 years ago when they were in Tampa, when he challenged Lashley for the belt and to get his crowning moment in front of a crowd, and it didn't happen.
Right.
And I think he's definitely upset because he should be challenging for the belt, and he should have had his moment with the crowd and with the title. And you know what? If I'm him and I see what AEW is doing in August, maybe I should wrestle in the UK at Wembley Stadium. Maybe I should sign with them, because you know what? That'll draw eyeballs on that All-In show.
Yeah, but to that counter, I'd say then you're risking to be a Rusev or somebody like that, where they get the one month pop and then they just go into this bliss of absolutely nothing, and we never hear from you again.
Well, here's the problem with Miro too. Here's the thing with him. Tony Khan's giving him creative ideas. He doesn't like it. Okay, you have your choice to stay home. That's fine. You're not getting released, and he knows it. Maybe he'll come back. I don't know, but I think Drew's different because I think he could. Definitely, he's a baby face that people could get behind, and the company doesn't have enough of those guys.
Agreed.
So I think he would be a great fit there if he goes. Now, again, we heard Kevin Owens, we heard Sami Zayn, heard a lot of guys say they haven't been happy with creative, turned down offers, and then they end up signing and staying and being lifers. So until Drew McIntyre is officially gone, I'll believe it when I see it, when he's officially gone from WWE and isn't happy there, because to me, I think he's one of those. He left, he came back, he went through their system, went through NXT, and has got to that main event level now. So I think he's one of those guys that kind of ends up staying there.
I do too.
All right, real quick here. Scott says, when do you think the Usos turn on Roman? Or if they turn on Roman?
I think it's going to be Jay eventually, maybe, but I just don't know when now. Like, that's the...
Well, you thought he would have done it during the Sami Zayn deal. At least one of them.
And I thought it was going to happen maybe at Mania, and then Roman retained.
I think it's going to go on for a while. They're going to slow burn this thing, and then down the road somewhere, it's going to happen.
It'll be, I mean, what's the next SummerSlam? It could be, I don't see it, maybe Survivor Series. Maybe it's the Royal Rumble next year. Who knows? I mean,
who knows?
That's such
they're
a
gonna drag this thing out. Well, because it's the best thing going, and they're gonna drag this thing out as far as they can.
Yeah.
Looks like also Trish turned heel tonight. Also,
that was dumb too. That was so stupid. Like, I'm sorry, I watched it, right? Like the way they did it. This shouldn't, like, okay. Let me back this up. The way Judgment Day is being treated is great. The way Damage Control is being treated is garbage, because they should be a top heel faction, belts, everything, but they're turned into jobbers. What was the point of all those people going over at WrestleMania and not making Damage Control stars? And now Trish turns. Trish should have just turned at WrestleMania instead of getting another WrestleMania moment that she didn't need, or not help them win the titles. Like, it didn't make sense. It just was so stupid. Like, so, and I knew she was going to turn heel once they said Lita got beat up in the back. I'm like, it was Trish. Like, it's so stupid. Like,
we've seen this play out 1,001 times.
This is the same crap over and over again.
Yeah. I mean, we tune in every week, and I don't know why sometimes.
I don't even really have it on much tonight. I just saw that part of it. I was like, this is dumb.
Yeah. Like, Raw, I couldn't tell you that. I watched a little bit of last week Raw live. I probably haven't watched Raw live in probably years, since the 3-hour thing. Outside of that, I just DVR and I just fast forward through the shit I want to see, or storylines that I've want to watch. But I mean, it's funny when I do watch it. WrestleMania was one of the few times where they surprised me, and I told you that last Monday. But I can usually figure out what the fuck they're going to do. I even call it a lot of times. My wife's like, it's like you know what's happening. I'm like, that's what happens when you've watched this for 30 years. You got the pen in hand. It's almost, you know what they're thinking. because they don't change the formula very often.
Yeah, they don't. No, they haven't changed the formula in a long time.
So I'll give you a quick story here. Speaking of watching live matches, I think the last one I remember was at the Sprint Center, now T-Mobile Center downtown here. My old job, I got sweet tickets. So, free beer, free drinks, right? So I ended up getting 3 tickets, brought the other 2 buffoons, Mike and JG, with me. That was a disaster. But so JG, who doesn't follow, he just went for the free drinks and everything. I don't think he understood what wrestling was on WWE style. So, it's all, predictive essentially. So Mike decided to just bet. I'm like, hey, I'll bet you a shot of Disaronno or something like that this person wins the match when it's clear and obvious they're going to win, right? We already know this. And there's no way. That's like twice the size. So Jason bets against it, takes a Disaronno, and then wanders off in the hallway somewhere. We had to go find him. So that was the best live match, I think, but it was hilarious because Jason had no idea what was going on. Meanwhile, me and Mike are like, it's clear as day here. We know what the hell's going on. So.
Well, it was like somebody goes to me a couple weeks ago when I did the Mania. Last week when I did the Mania, I did a thing for I did a betting article, and they're like, "Well, how can you bet on this stuff when it's predetermined?" Well, Cody Rhodes was the heavy favorite to beat Roman Reigns, and it didn't happen. So guess what?
It might be predetermined, but we don't know the outcome of what's going on.
we think we know, but we don't know. Like, so look, there's things that are obvious. There's things that are not obvious. It's like in hockey, right? We don't know. There's a lot of things. There's still a lot of X factors that can happen. Like what Flames team's going to show up, what this team's going to show up. And again, we get this stupid WWE draft that doesn't even matter. Like, it's so stupid. It's pointless.
They don't even continue on this. They got the same stars on both shows anyway.
Yeah. Let's just get rid of it. Like, it's stupid. It's just a ratings boost at this point. It's dumb.
Or if you're gonna have the draft, I like it back when it was maybe not have their separate pay-per-views like they had back in like. What was that? 2000?
02, yeah.
Or even like just recently, wasn't as soon as like 2012, 13 when they redid it, right?
Yeah.
And that's when like AJ was on SmackDown. SmackDown was killing Raw really at that point in time, and they had their own separate pay-per-views. Even I don't need their own separate pay-per-views, but make it to where you can't go on each other's show. If you're gonna go back to being this whole draft.
It doesn't matter because it's pointless. Because by the time WrestleMania season rolls around or SummerSlam, everybody's gonna be on everybody's show anyway, so it doesn't matter. True that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. All right, Jim. We'll let you go. I appreciate you talking a little hockey and NHL with us. So stick it around.
Always. A little extra overtime tonight. That's fine. Always.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Play up. But hey. This time next week, the Stanley Cup playoffs will be happening. We will be talking about playoff hockey.
Tons of discussions with NHL playoff hockey because it'll be all set and starting, and we'll have lots of stuff to talk about.
All the major awards will be finalized. Guys, obviously we'll know who won the Art Ross, McDavid will win it, Rocket, stuff like that. But the playoffs will be starting. Check it out. It's going to be awesome. Playoff hockey is here. It's the best time of year.
And fullpresshockey.com, they can find your articles?
Absolutely. Find me there. You can find me at NHLrumors.com as well. But playoff previews will be up before the puck drops next week. I will have them up.
Yeah.
All right.
You guys go. Make sure you guys check it out. And follow him at Twitter at Jim Biringer.
Absolutely. Check it out.
Have it all up there too. So be ready for it.
Be ready. You're going to get bombarded all day and night with playoff hockey.
I'm ready, man.
You guys are ready. That's it. That's all it. I love it.
I appreciate
it, Jim. We'll
see you. Absolutely, boys. We'll see you. Always a pleasure.
See you next week. Jim Biringer, guys. One of the best out there.
Tanner, while we're waiting to Johnathan join us, talk to us about your last week trip and the games, the great flyover that you saw at, I guess it's no longer Miller Park, but it'll always be Miller Park. How how was it? How was the flyover that you just heard, I guess?
Well, we got to see it on the screen for a split
Ah,
second.
yeah, that's awesome. I could see it on the screen anytime I
Well, there
wanted.
was rain in the freaking area because, of course, why not? Let's have storms on opening day. Thank God they had the roof. Otherwise, it'd just be a rain out day. And that would have got blasted for nothing. So, but, it was a great trip. It was really cool to see the bombs they hit. That was the first home run was opening day. They didn't hit any against the Cubs and still took 2 out of 3 out of them from them. It was really cool, though, to see just the offense coming together. A bunch of young guys, Joey Weimer making his home debut, Bryce Terrain, Garrett Mitchell, all 3 of those guys that made very important stuff. I believe it was Garrett Mitchell that hit the grand slam in the second day for that big bomb there. And, we saw Max Scherzer pitch, and they took back to back on him and rattled him all up. And then hit another couple bombs off the reliever back to back there. Just a lot of runs. We got to see a drama game where I believe it was Mitchell that hit the walk-off home run on that would have been Friday night. Yeah, Friday night to get them past the card. So thought I was going to get a contract as a professional fan. The luck of the fan that, whenever I'm there, I'm like, I'm literally 7-1 when I'm going to the Brewers games, and I always score at least 4 or more runs in those games. But unfortunately, they decided to shut out the Cardinals yesterday with a 6-0 and cost me a contract. So I couldn't.
Oh man!
But it was a good trip. Really cool breweries I hit to on the final day on Friday there. But glad to be back. It was fun to see baseball, fun to see competitive baseball. Let's put it that way. Even though despite the Royals out here doing some damage, it was still fun to see a potential team that could potentially make the playoffs. So, it was definitely good. So Nick, I want to talk to you about it. Cause we talked with JG and Scott on Saturday, as I was on the way back. Play-in tournament is now officially set for the NBA. So we got the Lakers, Minnesota, and the New Orleans and OKC on the west, and on the east is Miami, Atlanta, Toronto, Chicago. I want to know on the west here for that LA, Minnesota, New Orleans, OKC. New Orleans with a huge win there, that last game there. Who do you got coming out as the championship game out of the play-in tournament?
So I got the Lakers. They're going to they're playing the Timberwolves, right? Is that
no Rudy Gobert? No Rudy Gobert.
No Rudy Gobert. I can't. How do you pick the Timberwolves after what happened yesterday? You got one player breaking their hand. You got one player punching another player. Now he's sent home yesterday's game, sent home in the biggest game of the year. That's the guy that they kind of mortgaged for, right? Like they sent the mortgage. What was it? 2 first-round picks for Rudy Gobert. I mean,
that was like 3 or 4. I thought it was something stupid.
Or was it 4? It might have been
4.
It was something stupid. It was ridiculous. Yeah. You're right. And some players, even, so, and then they get this guy who's just, I mean, I don't know. I've never been a huge fan of Rudy Gobert. I didn't like the trade when they made it. So I got the Lakers, and then out west, the other 2 teams, what is it? New Orleans, OKC. Man, I like both of those teams. I edge towards, I don't know, man. I probably edge towards today New Orleans, but tomorrow I might say OKC. I feel like that's a true toss-up in the, just the whole game, like in the word toss-up, because I don't know I like both those squads. They're both young. It's sad that Zion it seems like he can never be around this time of year. And it would be great to see him and showcase him. I've always kind of been a Brandon Ingram fan. Yeah. But Shea is really good and Dort's really good from the Thunder.
He's been pretty solid for them again this year.
Yeah. And remember they're missing the second number Chet Holmgren. We haven't seen Chet all year. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when they get him back. I hate the play-in tournament. I hate it all.
I despise it. Just give me the first 8 and call it good. Like that's all we need.
How do we play 82 games and you don't know who your top 8 teams are? I mean, that's just
cut it to maybe 50 and give me a play-in tournament, and I might be more keen to it. But 82 games, like it's like baseball having a play-in tournament. You know, at 162 or whatever the heck it is.
Yeah, I like how baseball added the 2 wild cards, right? Mm-hmm. Keeps teams interested and keep going, right? But
that's
I don't need. Yeah, right? I don't need this. I don't need a play-in tournament and then 82 teams, and that's 16 teams get it, or there's 30 teams, 16 teams get in. That's half your damn league almost. I hate it. I don't even.
You have a team that's below 500 get in. You know it's a bad system.
Yeah.
500 or below, like you should not be 500 below and still get in. Kind of looking here at this New Orleans game and OKC. Really, they're kind of even. 5th and 15th points per game. Thunder has that role because they score a lot of points. I think the big thing is going to be in this matchup is the turnovers per game. Thunder are 6th best in the league. Meanwhile, the New Orleans is 22nd. And that's the thing, but getting your opportunities to go score. And if you're going to give Oklahoma a tons of extra opportunities because you can't hold on to the dang ball or pass the ball correctly, you're just asking for a loss here. For me, I like the Lakers. I think LeBron's coming out and he's like, hey, if we're in this thing, I'm going to go ahead and play top notch here. So I like the Lakers taking over that broken Minnesota team.
And we said this, I said this on Thursday's show. We all owe Anthony Street Clothes Davis an apology. Me and Johnny, we apologized to him on my show Thursday because he did it, man. LeBron was out for the majority of that time. He carried that team, showed that he could be the leader that we all think he could be, but we just always worry that his body's going to break down. He's going to get hurt. Stayed healthy, carried that team. At one point, they were going to miss. They weren't even in the playoff. You know what I mean? It wasn't until like the last week, couple games here that they fell to that 7th seed. They were up there. I think they were 5 at one point.
Yeah, did we give any credit to the GM on the trades they made at the trade deadline? Like that was a huge, just a buffer for that Lakers team. That's helped them compete with Anthony Davis and LeBron being out.
Yeah.
It's tremendous. I think you got the Lakers Thunder on the West playing for the 2 seeds.
So you got the Thunder. I'm going to say the Pelicans today, but I could see that game going either way.
I think on the East side, Miami, Atlanta, and then Toronto, Chicago. Atlanta's been one of those teams that should have already been in a playoff scene, and they just can't get it together. I'm going Miami in that one, and then Toronto, Chicago. I think that's another coin flip game right there because Chicago, who did win their last game, but has been such an up and down consistent team. Toronto's the same way, who showed that they could be potential 6, 7, or 5 seed.
The Bulls have the talent. That's what pisses me off about the Bulls. The Bulls have a talented team that they should be somewhere in the 5 or an above range. You have 3 all-star type players and Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Vucevic, who all 3 have been at the all-star game at one point or another in their career. And absolutely just can't get it together. They've helped. Pat Bev has come around and kicked everybody in the ass, and that's what turned this team around. So kudos for them going out and getting Pat Bev when he got bought out and bringing him in, and he's been their biggest supporter. I'm rooting for the Bulls here. I don't think it really matters because whoever's the 8th seed is going to get swept by Milwaukee, either gentlemen or full sweep. So
it don't matter.
It doesn't really matter.
No, not at all. So look down the way here. It looks like Scott says Lakers, New Orleans. It's his pick there in the West. Allen says Lakers and Thunder. Gobert is awful in Minnesota. Was so super for trading for him. I get their thoughts, Scott, but for the cost it happened and now the way the season's going to end, it's just disappointing. It's just an overall disappointing deal. He also says the playing game is like giving out participation medal to the 4th place in Olympics. That's fair enough there. No, we don't, Nick. He will disappoint in the playoffs. And Toronto, Miami. So he's talking about. I believe he's talking about AD.
Yeah.
Look, AD in the playoff. Like if he got to the playoffs and he's still playing, I think he'll be fine. I think this is an AD team, that AD teammate that can make an impact on this deal here. So and then Toronto, Miami, Scott has on the other side. Hey, there you go. Cubs beat the Mariners.
Yeah, we just walk off. We've won 4 out of our last 5.
Oh boy.
You know, after I gave up on the season because we lost 2 out of 3 to the Brewers, and then we went to Cincinnati and lost, and we were losing like big to the Reds. And I text friend of the program, Craig Koger, and said, "We fucking suck. I hate this team already. I'm giving up." We come back and win that game. We won 4 in a row. Lost yesterday. Win today. We still fucking suck, so I got to keep that mindset as we continue to win.
That's building you up. Cubs are getting a wild card.
Meanwhile, don't give me no goddamn hope. We fucking suck.
Don't worry, the Royals are losing to the Rangers because we finally faced a good team that's not San Francisco. And well, here you go. Here you go. All right. I think it's baseball time, guys. Oh wait, Alan, real quick. Heat and Bulls in the East for me. My prediction: Thunder take Denver to Game 7. Round 1. Hey, the Thunder can score. If the Thunder produce the offense and can keep a clean game, they can compete with the Nuggets. I believe that. But I don't
think the Nuggets are too talented.
They're so deep right now. And Ryan Braun, Jayhawk, he's a monster off the bench. He's my man. So all right, it's baseball time. Let's bring him in. Johnathan Grishman. Johnathan, what's up, dude?
How's it going, fellas?
Good. Hey, how's the weather?
It's not too bad. I mean, we're in the 60s right now. It's a little chilly as far as tonight right now, but during the day, it's been really nice out here so far. I can't complain too much.
Yeah, it's 70s here, so it's got to be pretty nice there.
Yeah, I mean, warmer weather, baseball weather, softball weather. I'm happy right now. I'm a little bit hotter. I would love it a little bit hotter out here, but hey, I can go play golf tomorrow and not have to worry about it. So I'm good on that.
Speaking of hot, Johnathan, nobody's hotter than the Rays right now. I mean, they've advanced to 11-0.
Unbelievable.
What is going on? How are they doing this? And no team has ever started 11-0 and won the World Series. Can they do that?
I don't know. I don't know as far as saying that they're going to win the World Series, but they were the sleeper pick on me, at least to say that they could win the AL East. Obviously, again, the Yankees were the power team. They were the easy bet in the AL East to go with. I said Rays have the talent that nobody knows. That's the best thing about that's what I love about the Tampa Bay Rays. Every year, I love the Rays just because nobody knows who they are. Nobody knows who these guys, and they win. They figure it out, and they still win. They do have superstars. They have Randy Arozarena, who showed out the WBC. Wander Franco, he's the next up and coming young superstar of MLB, and the pitching that this team pitches. They have great arms. Talking about my Braves having young pitchers. Tampa's no different. They have young, exciting pitchers, and that's what if they can stay healthy, they are going to carry that team all the way. Again, they can hit, they can score, but the pitching staff is electric. They are a lot of fun to watch, and they're a contender. They need to be. Again, I will say that the schedule has been very easy for the first 3 series, but to win the way they have won by 4 runs or 4 runs or more differential. That's hard to do. I don't care what team they play against. They could play against a AAA team and have every game that you win by 4 or more runs. That's hard. So I'll take into consideration the schedule, but the way they do win, that matters. So they're a contender. They need to be taken seriously so far.
I mean, you're blowing away bad teams, right? So the Tigers, Washington, and Oakland, you're blowing them away in those games, and that's the important thing. They did have a 1-0 win today against Boston. So, Scott, I'm sure is celebrating like he won a victory. We held him to one run. Congrats, Scott, in yours. So, but yeah, I think this Rays team is pretty scary. Do you think at all that this might be the Yankees from last year? And they disappoint in the first round of the playoffs come play, but just without a 60-run home run guy.
As far as the Rays, saying that of the Rays?
Yeah, the Rays could be like the Yankees where they're up so big, going into All-Star break and then kind of slowly collapse all the way down.
No, because the pitching's better. You have Garrett Cole for the Yankees, but after that, it's question marks. The only question mark you have as far as the Rays are their experience in the playoffs. That would be the only question mark you have, but they're still really good. So the pitching is better what the Rays have right now than what the Yankees were last year. And I don't think they're going to run away with the AL East. I think it's going to be competitive throughout. So I don't see that being a problem that they'll get a big lead and the lead's is going to be maintained throughout. I think it's going to be a competitive division. It'll still be going into September that they're going to have to play it out. But the pitching is just they're much better than what the Yankees were last year. It's not even close to the talent level, top to bottom rotation and bullpen to what the Yankees had last year.
So, but a lot of more depth, essentially.
Correct. Yes.
How the hell do they do this? Because they play in a shit stadium. They have no damn money. And you just said it, every year it's like we don't know who the hell they are. They have maybe one or two guys every year where you kind of know, and they're the leftover from the year before. And every year Joe Madden was there the last few years. They were winning games and going to World Series for the better part of the last decade plus here. How the hell do they do it?
They draft very well. I mean, they draft and
who's in charge of their player scouting, and get them guys to Chicago ASAP, please.
Well, I mean, hey, you've seen the Royals try to do that with the Braves. They try to get the Braves guys, and it never panned out that way. So I mean, you could try to get the Rays scouting department and player personnel. Doesn't mean it may work out in Chicago, but no, they're fantastic. They're absolutely fantastic in development, what they do, and their system works. It's been going that way since they had David Price when they drafted Price out of Vanderbilt, and it carried on to through his career in there. And to what we see today with this group again, like there's just a young team. It's an electric team. It's fun to watch. They develop these guys. They draft well. That's where you have to start. You have to draft guys that you're going to project will be there in 2-3 years, and really 2 years. It's kind of if you're really good at what you do, and your scouting is on point, you're projecting these guys to be there in 2 years, and they are on to that side of it where you see these guys make it to the show in 2 years, and they are full-time starters in the big leagues by the third year. They're on point on what they do scouting wise, and then you have and then through the minor league system, you're developing them to go and compete at the big league level. It's fantastic to watch, and it does remind me of what the Braves were in the '90s and early 2000s, where and what they're doing today right now. Braves are doing it today, where you just funnel these guys and you plug and play, and you don't miss a beat. Tampa's been doing this for a very long time in the same aspect of, and it's fun to watch because that's what you need to be if you're Tampa in a small market, which is what Tampa St. Pete is, and you don't have a lot of money to spend because you're not putting people in the stadium out of that dump. You got to find ways to get players, and developing and drafting is the best way to doing it, and they're doing it the right way.
But I get that part, but the difference between them and the Braves is the Braves are locking all their young guys up long term, right? So that's the crew that they're going to run with. We know Tampa Bay is not going to they have never locked up one single guy. Who's their cornerstone franchise player they're locking up because they had never done that?
They did last year with Wander Franco. They signed him to a long-term deal. Randy Arozarena is probably going to get one here this year. He'll get I think he should get a long-term contract here this year. But they did that last year with Franco in his rookie year. They locked him up. I think it was a 10-year deal. Kind of what the Braves did. So they're slowly starting to trickle that way. Again, it's
really
great. The Braves
in payroll.
Yeah,
in payroll.
Braves have money. The Braves have money because they sell out every home game and they get people there, and the Braves fans buy things. You're not selling out at St. Pete, that stadium. You're not selling out those games, so you're limited on what you can spend money on. But they locked up Wander Franco. They probably will be getting Randy Arozarena here pretty soon. And again, you don't have to worry about your pitching staff because these guys are still young. They're still, they're not even at arbitration yet. So you're going to be with these guys for at least 3-4 years, and then you got to figure out by that point to say, hey, we need to start trying to find ways to spend money. By that point, who knows if they're in Tampa anymore? Which MLB has kind of been wanting to move the Rays out of Tampa Bay, or maybe if they finally do decide to get a new stadium, who knows? But at some point, they're going to spend a little bit more money. They already did with Franco. They got to do with Arena here pretty soon. And then in the next couple of years, they're going to be locking up, hopefully, the pitching staff because, again, those pitchers are good. They are really good.
But they've had good pitching in the past, and we've seen. I mean, Blake Snell was a Cy Young winner, and they just let him go. David Price, he left. I mean, it's amazing to me how they do it year in and year out with being 28th in payroll. Like that's damn near dead
always
last.
bottom 15. Always bottom 15.
Yeah,
actually bottom 20. I think every year.
Yeah, it's the projection of what you have. Again, that's why you're seeing more people, more teams lock up young guys early. Like you're trying to beat the projection of what the contract's going to be. And that's what, again, the Braves started that with Acuna and Albies, where you signed Ronald Acuna to it was an 8-year deal, a $100 million contract, which, my goodness, that is a steal and a half to get Ronald Acuna for $100 million compared to what Juan Soto got and Mookie Betts got. Albies got $60 million contract. So you're seeing teams try to get these young guys locked up early, where you can say, hey, you're going to get your pay increase now. You don't have to worry about arbitration. We'll get you locked up your guaranteed contract now, and then by the time you're in the middle of your prime or towards the back end of your prime, you'll get your second contract, and then you're set for life at that point. So the strategy of teams of how they're spending money has completely shifted a lot, thanks to the Braves and what they did and have still done, doing with Michael Harris, doing with Spencer Strider, doing with these guys that are in their rookie contracts and locking them up. They've kind of changed how the business is going to be is being done by the smaller market teams. And again, Atlanta's not necessarily a small market because they're they're in the top 10, top 7 payroll, but they still portray themselves to be the small market that just makes a ton of money.
Gotcha. Are you still hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Cool. All right. My PC is acting weird. It's all froze. So anyways, I was going to ask you here about a couple teams playing right now for the NL West and the NL Central. Milwaukee, huge win streak, sweeping the Mets, winning the series against the Cardinals this weekend. 7-2 in that division there, taking care of the Cubs as well opening weekend, because that's always fun to say. And then Arizona.
We won the first game. Okay, we won opening day. That's
Arizona's out here in the NL West at 6-4. San Diego's right behind them at 6-5. A very tight race there in the NL West for at least the top 3. San Francisco getting beat by the Royals twice is ridiculous. But I want to know, do you think this Milwaukee team in this Arizona series is maybe a bigger deal early in the season than it should be?
It makes it intriguing because you kind of see what the makeup of these teams are. Arizona, I said that they could be a sneaky team. I just think they're it's the wrong time because Padres are what they are. Dodgers are still good, but the Diamondbacks are not going to be one of the pushover teams that we've seen them be over the last few years. There's a lot of talent there. Milwaukee, again, we talked when we did the projections of them and kind of say, are they going to be the contender that they had been over the last few years, or are they going to be the team that absolutely just tanked it and gave up in 2022? So they're still showing they're still a good team. So again, it's a matter of where are they going to project themselves down the road by the time we get to June, because that's what we saw last year was that they were a good team, but they sold off. How much confidence is this going to be you're going to have in this team moving forward? And that's going to be the biggest question as far as with the Brewers more so is can they correct what they made the mistake last year? And I think everybody will say trading Josh Hader was a mistake. So it's a matter of, can you correct that by saying, hey, we do believe in the guys we have. We do believe in the direction we're heading, that we can contend with the Cardinals and be able to compete for a division title, or they kind of make a repeat of what they did last year, saying, hey, we're just not quite there yet. And maybe, or we kind of fallen off too much. And then we fall back and have to make some roster decisions from there.
I got you. What team has surprised you so far through this first week or so in baseball? Is there a team where you're like, outside of the Rays who we just talked about?
I say Diamondbacks. I knew they were, I mean, again, they were going to be a good team, but the fact of how they've been able to compete early on in the season, that's exciting because again, Diamondbacks in that division, that you're going to have to play above what your standard is. You have to play above what your skill set is to be able to be a contender with the Padres and Dodgers. And so far, they're showing they have it. They have the ability to do it early on right now. Again, granted, it's only been 10 games, 11 games into the season, but they're showing that they're exciting. And that's what you want to see from a team that in a very tough division. Are you an exciting team that can compete? And if you can compete, how long can you sustain? And that's going to be the big question for the Diamondbacks. But they're a fun, exciting team. I've seen a little bit of the highlights from them. I haven't watched them play yet, but from what I've seen and from what I've heard and the scouting reports of what I've read, they're going to be a good team this year that may kind of jump themselves into what Seattle was in 2022 to push themselves to be a contender for a wild card. I think right now, again, early on, the wild card in the NL is kind of wide open because we don't know what the Mets are going to be. We don't know what the Phillies are going to be. Those are two wild card teams. Can they contend with those groups? Can they pass the Dodgers? Maybe. That's going to be the question mark for the division: is can they finish above the Dodgers as well as finish above the Mets and the Phillies for a wild card spot? And that's not as far fetched. I'd give the Diamondbacks as that surprise team right now.
Oh, hey, we got Record Room Source in the chat as well. He absolutely agrees earlier on his chat. And then Alan here, Spencer Strider, I feel is going to be a top 5 pitcher this year. He very well could be at that point. I'm back, by the way, so
the Pirates are 6-4. They did lose one of their star players yesterday, sliding into home. I mean, I would say that they could be, to me, at 6-4. I never thought the Pirates would be 2 games above 500 all season. So they might be the surprise right there. They're in second place, so only a game and a half out of first.
Yeah, that is a surprise. And I'll be honest, I did not know what their record was. Otherwise, I probably would have said the Pirates. The issue for Pirates is we know they're not going to sustain that, though. That's the initially you lose your shortstop now in O'Neal Cruz. He's going to miss most of the season.
I think towards ACL. I think he's done for the year.
It was
is it official ACL? I thought it was an ankle.
It was a fracture. It was an ankle, a fractured ankle.
Oh, okay. I thought they said ACL or something went out yesterday.
I think the updated was at least that I saw this afternoon. It was a fractured ankle.
Oh yeah. He just had a surgery. He's out at least 4 months, so he's done. You might as well just because by the time he comes back, they're not going to be in any contention. You might as well just sit him out for the rest of the year.
So I mean and again O'Neal Cruz, who he's got a long way in his development, but he's still their starting shortstop, and losing him is going to hurt them. But I think we'll see the Pirates kind of make a sell off. They're finally going to make the decision as far as what they're going to do with Brian Reynolds, even though they may. From what I've heard, they're trying to sign him to a contract extension. If they do, great. That might be a good thing for the Pirates that they're buying into, at least trying to keep the talent. But I think a team at some point is going to make an offer that they're going to say yes to, just to say, hey, we'll get the young prospects we need and get some players that we want. But again, if they make that decision to keep Reynolds and sign him to an extension, then maybe you could see the Pirates be a little bit better than what we all thought they were going to be.
Yeah, if they had Cruz and then the development of Key Brian Hayes too, so I could see that would be a nice little group, but with Cruz being out.
Right. And he said he's definitely just doing rehab work of what Harbor did. Okay, I got you. Thanks, Record. Scott says, what do you make of the Dodgers so far? Short-handed Dodgers and the starting pitching staff right now. A little short-handed, but they seem to be decently going at it. So what's your take of the Dodgers?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, they're 5-5 right now. They've had moments where they've looked good, and they've had their moments where you're sitting and go, is this the same Dodgers team that we've seen over the last 5-6 years? We've kind of talked about that with the show that Scott and I have done. That said something was missing about this group. There's holes on the team still. There's still a lot of holes in the roster. The pitching staff is not going to be the pitching staff. I think is most concerning because you don't have Walker Buehler, you don't have Gonsolin right now. There's a lot. Can you trust Noah Syndergaard for an entire season? Can you really say that Syndergaard is going to be the that mainstay in the rotation behind Kershaw to at least kind of in Urias to carry you? I mean, be a number 3. Syndergaard at this point of his career, he's at best a 4, number 5 starter. losing Buehler and having Gosselin down as well, that's going to hurt them throughout the season, especially compared to the Padres, who their pitching staff's really good. I mean, they went and shut down the Braves over the weekend, took 3 or 4 in Atlanta, and they didn't. Darvish didn't pitch, and Musgrove, who's out right now, he's coming back. Michael Wacha pitched really good. Snell pitched really well, even though they got the loss on a walk-off. He pitched really well. I mean, that staff is good. So top to bottom wise, they're not going to match up with the Padres pitching staff wise. And then you have some holes in the field. So, shortstop is still a missing piece. I'm not confident long term that what the Dodgers are going to do this year at shortstop with Gavin Lux out for the season. So I think it's a hit or miss right now. They're kind of a 500 team with 10 games, and they're up 4-0 right now at this point. So they'll jump to 6-5 if everything kind of goes. But I think that's kind of what they're going to be right now. They're going to be that team that is above 500 team, but there's not enough. There's not enough there for them to contend with the Padres. I don't think just from the many holes they have in the pitching staff and on the field as well.
Screw the Dodgers. Screw Fred. He should have stayed. Amen to that.
Go ahead, Tanner.
I mean, they had a great opening, or that Thursday opening game comeback last week. I mean, that was phenomenal against the Phillies, being down 5-0. The next thing you know, you're up 6-5 on them, and they just took care of Philly all the way through that series. I mean, where you rank Texas at right now?
Texas is one of those teams. I think it's way too. I don't know, again, we're 10 games in, and you can say this for every team that you ask about as far as how they're doing right now. But Texas, I think it's still too early for me to sit there and say, hey, that's a really good surprise, and they're going to be a good team here. I think there's some question marks with Texas, and again, Jacob deGrom is still a really good pitcher. He proved it. I know opening day was a little bit of a rough shot against the Phillies. They still came back and won that game. He pitched really well this next start. But there's some things I'm not sold on in Texas. I think it's a positive direction. And again, when you have a manager who is as good as Bruce Bochy is, and that was I bought into Bruce Bochy in Texas. Like, I think that was a great hire to be able to have this team to change the culture of what this organization has been with the previous 2 managers they had in Jeff Bannister and Chris Woodward just now. That you bring somebody who's got the pedigree, a championship pedigree, which is something that Texas is trying to kind of reestablish themselves after 2011 and 2012, or 2010, 2011. You got to rediscover that side of it. And Bruce Bochy, Mike, is probably the best thing that this organization has done for themselves in over a decade. But I think there's still some question marks I have with this team. There's some question marks of longevity, of what they're sustain, how much are they going to sustain? Is the offense really as good as they're playing right now? I don't know that. Is it a surprise? Yes. Texas being a 6-4, that's a surprise.
It is a surprise. Yeah.
I don't know if it's sustainable though. Their offense is right now lights out good, and they're hitting and they're scoring runs left and right. I just don't know how much longer that's going to be until they kind of catch that cliff and they start falling down a little bit.
My last question, Jonathan, before we get up out of here. Cardinals are 3-6. They're just going to continue to stink, right? Like, this is the path that they're going to go down, and life's going to be happy here at the Bodkins home because Cubs will be winning and Cardinals will at least be shitty.
You're talking about a surprise. I'm surprised by the Cardinals not doing what they're doing, and then you have a lot of the rumors right now that Ali Marmol his job's on the line right now. Especially after how he handled Tyler O'Neill benching after being thrown out at home plate by Ronald Acuna in the Braves series. There's a lot of things that they said that he did not do. He did not handle very well with that. I mean, I don't know. There's too much talent on that team for them to fall down like that. You still have
Molina. Fans want Molina. I've already seen it a bunch. They don't want their manager right now.
No, I agree, and that's probably going to happen. You're going to have Yachty. I think they're wanting to wait until the season ends to make that.
Give it a whole year, right, from his retirement to now.
That's what Yachty wanted that too. Yachty didn't want to jump into coaching right off the bat. He got the WBC opportunity to kind of get his feet wet and kind of see how it was going to be, but he wanted a whole year to take off, kind of digest retirement. and then jump into to being a manager when the job opened up. If the job opened up, I think the Cardinals they're not gonna fire Marmol right now. I think they're gonna wait till the end of the season. I think basically saying, hey, the only way he keeps his job is if they go to the World Series. I think that'd be the only way. If they lose in the postseason, I think they still move on because they know Yachty wants that job. He wants to be the manager of St. Louis. So it's a matter of if do they make a run in the postseason and are in the World Series? That's the only thing that's going to keep Ali from being fired. Other than that, as you said, the fans want it. It's the worst kept secret that Yachty Molina is the future manager of the Cardinals. That's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. I cannot see the Cardinals, an organization that has been known for stability for God knows how long, is in football sense. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers have been stable organization, 3 coaches in 40, 50 years or whatnot, and you have that stability. The Cardinals have kind of been the same way. I know they've been shaky at times here and there.
Their last few years, they've been moving managers quite a bit. I mean,
I think that's why they don't want to make the move in the middle of the season, because it's shaking their foundation of what they've been built as in Major League Baseball throughout their history. If they make that move in the middle of the season to fire Marmol, you're going to have a little bit of unrest by the players. You're going to have a little bit of unrest as far as a new organization, and you don't want that, especially an organization as prideful as St. Louis Cardinals are. I think they're going to want to wait till the end of the season to make that move.
Look, the Cardinals are doing exactly what the Cardinals do every freaking year. Suck middle, and then after the All-Star break, they're gonna do this weird climb that they're gonna all catch on fire.
August and September,
playoffs, and we're like, how did this happen? They're just doing exactly what they do. I'm not.
You're right. You're right. By August, they'll be 5 games back. They'll go like 22-5 in the month of August.
And
in September, same thing. And next thing you know, they clinch the division. They're division champs.
It's year in, year out. Same story. They call for the heads of the manager, right away because they're last place, and then then it's all good. And they're like, hey, we're good now until next early season.
I mean, you can't, like I said, you can't be a bad team when you have 2 MVP candidates in Goldschmidt and Arenado on the corners. Young pitchers in Miles Mikolas. You have a Hall of Famer in Wainwright who has been on the IL, but again, there's just too much talent for what they're doing. I know a lot of blame is being thrown on the manager. Cardinals fans are just going to have to endure this whole season. I just cannot see them fire Marmol right now.
Not this.
Fuck them. That's all I got to say. I hope they're fucking miserable, Johnathan. I hope all Cardinal fans are miserable. Fuck them.
I'm right there with you because again, I have a hatred for the Cardinals after 2012 with the infield fly game that Chipper's last career game in Atlanta. So I have not as much hatred of the Cardinals as you do, Nick, but I don't like St. Louis. I don't like the Cardinals. But here's the question they know Yachty wants the job. So let's just say this. Let's say it gets to the point where they have to fire Marmol in the middle of the season. You bring in an interim manager, and then all of a sudden they do a Philadelphia Phillies, and they go on a –
what happens? Then what do you do? Yeah. I hope that's what happens. I hope Yachty goes someplace else.
You want all the situations. You want the misery of St. Louis.
Yes. Their pizza sucks. Their baseball team, I hate it. I live only an hour and a half. The only thing good about St. Louis is the Battlehawks, baby.
That's the only thing good about it.
Right.
Nowadays. Oh, man. Well, Johnathan, what you got coming up this weekend? Any tournaments we got?
Yeah, we got some tournaments. We got 3 teams in action this weekend. My 10U softball, 12U softball, my 14U, my younger 14U team is competing this weekend. So we're full steam ahead. We had a lot of success. So we finished 3rd place this past weekend with my older 14U team. We had some home runs hit. We had 3 of our girls go deep this weekend as well. So I mean, they were playing well. The girls are doing great. The boys had some good games this past weekend as well on the baseball side. It's going great, and we're seeing the growth. And again, I every time you guys ask, and I always love that you guys ask us the same thing. Wow, we got to see the growth. And right now at the ages we're seeing the growth. We're seeing these kids take that step in the right direction. It's fun to watch. It's fun to see. It makes me happy that they even see it too, and they're starting to see how much they're growing and how much they're getting to the point of understanding the little things about this game. And they're going to start getting, again, as I told them, over the weekend, success will follow as you continue in the right direction, no matter what. So they're getting it. They had, I was with the boys tonight at practice, actually for the first time on a Monday, and they got to work. We ended up getting to work a lot of fundamental drills today, and they, some boys were tired. Their legs were a little bit shot on them tonight. So they got some good work in and getting them ready again for another 2 weeks from now.
That's great. I mean, it's so early in the tournament year and season, especially, that now you're seeing that kind of development already. Who knows what you're going to see come, dead heat summer.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be the really great part.
Scott, don't put your money on it. That's what I would say.
Ribs are awesome. Come to KC, I'll show you good ribs.
Yeah,
and then the Cubs are plus 400 to make the playoffs. What do you guys think?
No, don't do it, Scott. Don't do it.
I wouldn't. That's an intriguing one. That'd be an intriguing one, but I wouldn't do it just because, again, I think you have too many teams. You still have the Mets and Phillies that they're going to come back from. You have the Dodgers, and like I said, Diamondbacks could be that sneaky team this year. Something about them right now it has me convinced that they're going to be in the wild card contention. Throughout the year, they're the 2022 Seattle Mariners right now. I think they're gonna be that kind of team that sneaks up and makes them move at some point.
Yeah, Diamondbacks are still one up on the Brewers right now, top of 5. So they're looking good. It's gonna be I think a good series for Brewers right now that I'm gonna be watching. So Diamondbacks are plus 500 to make it.
Hey, there you go.
I'd throw something on that one.
I'd put 100 on that one.
Yeah, I'd throw some on that. So Johnathan, appreciate you joining us. Next Monday, I'm sure we'll have more news to talk about. I'm sure some standings will switch up again. So we're only the first weekend. There's lots to come here in this baseball season. So appreciate you joining us, Johnathan.
Oh, yeah, 152 more games to go, baby.
Hey, I'm excited. I love it. Bring it on. Love it.
Love it, man. All right, Johnathan, we'll catch you next Monday, man.
All right, see you guys.
Yeah. Best of luck to you this weekend.
Man, Johnathan Grishman, everybody. Nick, I got one thing for you before we get out of here, because I do want your thoughts on this. The OBJ signing with the Ravens. I mean, does this help the Lamar situation? Do you think?
1,001%. I meant to ask you this when we came on air. 1,001%. Your stupidity pick I told you of him sitting out half the season was dumb when you made it. I told you that wasn't going to happen. I didn't believe it. 1,001%. He doesn't sign that contract unless he knows Lamar's coming there. They've already been reported that Lamar was heavily recruiting OBJ to come to Baltimore. That deal got done because Lamar wanted it to be done. It's a 1-year deal. Lamar's going to sign that franchise tag, and away we go.
Is it enough for Lamar to win and go get a bigger contract, or are we looking at, just a guy that's wanting to play with somebody that, might be good, might not?
The latter. Does it move them? Are they better than they were last year? Yes, if Lamar can stay healthy. But are they better than the Bengals? No. Are they even better than the Steelers right now?
No.
Maybe not. So right now you're sitting maybe third. They're probably still better than Cleveland. Cleveland could surprise some people. Then you look around the rest of the league. Are they better than any team in the AFC East? Are they better than the Bills? No. Are they better than the Dolphins? No. Are they better than the Jets once the Jets finally make the move for Aaron Rodgers? Probably not. The Jets, OBJ called the Jets and said, hey, match this offer, I'll sign there. They said, fuck you, see you later. We're trying to win a Super Bowl here.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
I mean,
I don't-
Scott said the Patriots. I guess the Patriots would be the lone example that they're better than.
Yeah, the Patriots. I don't even think the Patriots. I don't even think that they're better than that team.
I think they're better than the Patriots. The Patriots might be might be one of the worst teams this year.
I don't know. As you know, I know the Chiefs were interested in OBJ. I'm not mad about this.
18 million is a lot of money.
Have fun, dude. Go have fun in Baltimore.
I didn't understand this because from everything that you read was he was looking for a multi-year deal. So he signs a 1-year deal. 15 million can be up to 18 million.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense. I'm like, really? You only got your 1-year deal? Like, it wasn't, maybe it was that important for him to go play with a Lamar Jackson,
And maybe he signs a 1 year to make sure play it 1 year out with Lamar and kind of see. And maybe next year, if he stays healthy and has a good year, people will, that contract will be up there again.
Or maybe this is also another combo deal where, Lamar and OBJ, if they make a great connection, then you're going to have both those guys sign a multi-year deal, and it won't be guaranteed. He won't fight for the guarantee money next year or something.
Yeah. It's a smart move. I think it guarantees that Lamar's back in Baltimore.
I think so.
And ready for week 1. He'll have to sign. He's not there. There's no team. He's realized that no team is going to give him what he wants. He's going to have to sign the franchise tag, play on the tag 1 year, and then go from there in this game with OBJ.
Yeah, that was the move. That was a move. That was one of those moves that Baltimore had to make in order for Lamar to come back at all. And I think even play, like even if you signed the franchise tag, I think even to play, I think you had to have that kind of move, and that kind of helped ease stuff around. Now we'll see how stuff goes, of course, but I was just curious what your thoughts are on that one. So cool. All right, guys. You probably don't know who your guest is next Sunday, do you?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
No,
all right.
I don't know.
Guys, I got Wednesday morning. I'll be dropping my Cleveland Browns draft preview on Whiskey Sports Podcast. We did a mock draft with Bobby G at the Fan University and Big Mike of Man Cave Media. We kind of did a 7-round mock, talk about the offseason as well of the Cleveland Browns. That'll drop Wednesday morning right here on Whiskey Sports Podcast. So, yeah. I mean, that's what I got. It's draft week. It's draft month. Get ready, guys. We got lots of stuff coming. We'll see what we can do here on that last Monday right before the draft. Maybe we can throw some big mock draft deal with Jim and stuff. So, everybody, have a fabulous week. We will talk to you next Monday. See you guys.